My name is Mia. I am 42 years old. Last year, I divorced my husband. I still remember the day very well. I sat in the small office with him. The lawyer spoke in a calm voice. The papers were on the table. My husband signed them first. Then I signed too. My hand was shaking. I felt weak but also tired. I knew this was the end of our marriage. We walked out of the office. He did not look at me. I did not look at him. We went in different directions. It was the end of 20 years together. My husband's name is Peter. He was not always like this. When we first met, he was kind and warm. He worked hard and he cared for me. We had good days together. We laughed and made plans. Later we had 2 children, 1 boy and 1 girl. Their names are Henry and Chloe. For some years, we lived a normal life. We had small problems like other families, but we were happy. Then alcohol entered our home. At first, Peter drank only sometimes. He said it was to relax after work. I did not worry then, but slowly it became more and more. He started to drink every evening. Later, he drank also in the day. He was not the same man anymore. He forgot his promises. He shouted when he was drunk. He lost his job and could not keep money. I tried to help him. I asked him to stop. I begged him to think of our children. I said we can find support. But he did not listen. He said he was fine. He said I was the problem. Many nights I cried alone in my bed. I hoped he would change, but he did not. When Henry and Chloe grew older, they started to see the truth. They saw their father drunk in the house. They saw him sleep all day. They heard him speak loud words to me. I tried to protect them, but I could not hide everything. One evening, Henry said to me, "Mom, why do you stay?" I looked at his young face. He was only 16. I had no answer for him. Life became harder every month. Peter did not bring money home. I worked many hours and tried to pay the bills. Sometimes I asked my parents for help. I felt shame, but I had no choice. Peter sold things from the house to buy alcohol. One day, he sold our old television. Another day, he took my ring. I felt broken inside, but I still stayed. I stayed because I was afraid. I thought about my children. I did not want them to grow up without a father. I thought maybe tomorrow he would change. I thought maybe if I gave him more time, more love, he would stop. But nothing worked. He only went deeper into alcohol. The house was full of silence and fear. We did not eat together anymore. He ate alone when he wanted. I cooked for the children and tried to make life normal. But the truth was clear. There was no family left. There was only me and the children, trying to hold things together. Then one night something happened. He came home very late. He was drunk and angry. He shouted at me in the kitchen. The children were in their rooms, but they could hear. His face was red. His words were cruel. He pushed a chair and it fell. I felt fear in my whole body. I thought if I stay, things will get worse. That night I decided I would not live like this anymore. The next morning, I called my friend. Her name is Diane. She is also divorced. She listened to me. She said, "You must be strong. You must leave him." Her words gave me courage. That week, I spoke to a lawyer. The lawyer explained everything. I cried in her office, but she was patient. She told me I had rights. She told me I could build a new life. It was not easy. Peter was angry when he learned I wanted a divorce. He said I was a bad wife. He said I wanted to destroy the family. But the family was already broken. I could not live in fear anymore. The divorce took months. Papers, meetings, and many tears. The children were sad, but they also understood. They told me they wanted peace in the house. They said they did not want to see me suffer. Their words gave me strength. When the divorce was final, I felt both empty and free. I had lost my husband, but I had also lost years of pain. I stood alone now, but I was still alive. My children stood with me. They were young adults already. Henry worked in a garage and Chloe worked in a small office. They did not need me all the time anymore, but they still needed love and sometimes support. I knew I must be strong for them. The first weeks after divorce were strain. I woke up in a quiet house. No shouting, no fear, but also no partner. I felt both relief and loneliness. Sometimes I cried at night. Sometimes I smiled when I looked at the calm room. I was free from alcohol and fights, but I was also alone. After many years, I started to meet other women like me. Diane invited me to a small group of divorced mothers. They met once a week in the community center. The first time I went, I was nervous, but the women were kind. They welcomed me. We shared stories, pain and small joys. Some women had worse stories than me. Some had better, but we all understood each other. I did not feel alone anymore. In those meetings, I learned something. Many divorced women start to drink, too, when they feel lonely. Some even become alcoholics like their husbands. It shocked me. I knew I must stay away from that path. I had seen what alcohol did to Peter. I promised myself never to follow the same way. I still missed the idea of a husband. Sometimes I looked at other couples and felt sad. But I also told myself, I must first heal. I must first find peace inside. Only then could I think about love again. Before I continue my story, please subscribe, share, and tell me where you are listening from. Your support means a lot to me. Now let's continue. Life after divorce was not easy. I was free from Peter, but I had to face many new things alone. The bills, the house, and my feelings. At first, it was heavy for me. I woke up early, went to work, and tried to keep everything in order. At night, when the house was quiet, I sometimes sat in the dark and thought about the past. I thought about how life could have been different if Peter had stopped drinking. But then I told myself I cannot go back. I must go forward. The meetings with other divorced mothers helped me a lot. Every week we came together. We drank tea, talked, and sometimes went for small trips. One time we went to the lake. We walked, laughed, and shared food. I felt like a young woman again. For a few hours, I was not only a mother or a divorced wife, I was simply Mia, a woman with her own life. The group gave me hope. I listened to their stories. Some of the women wanted to marry again. They dreamed of meeting a kind man and starting a new family. Others said they wanted to stay single forever. They felt more free alone. Each story was different, but all of us understood one thing. Divorce is not the end. Life can begin again. Still, there were hard days. I saw some women from the group start to drink. At first, it was only one glass of wine. In the evening, later it became more. Some of them said they needed it to sleep. Others said it helped them feel less lonely. I watched them and I felt afraid. I remembered Peter's face when he was drunk. I remembered the fights, the broken things, the fear. I told myself, I will never drink again. Not even one glass. At home, Henry and Chloe tried to support me. They were busy with their own lives, but they always asked, "How are you, Mom?" Henry fixed things in the house when something broke. Chloe helped me with shopping. Sometimes we ate together on Sunday. They told me about their jobs, their friends, and their plans. I felt proud of them. They were strong and kind. They did not let their father's mistakes destroy their lives. One evening, Chloe came home with a smile. She said, "Mom, you look better now. You smile more than before." I looked at her and felt warm in my heart. She was right. Slowly, I was healing. I was not crying every night anymore. I was starting to enjoy small things. Again, like walking in the park, cooking simple meals, or talking with Diane. Diane was one of my closest friends. Now, she often said, "We are not broken, Mia. We are free women. We can build our own lives." Her words stayed with me. She had divorced many years before me. She knew. The road was long, but she showed me it was possible to live again. In the group, I also met new women. One of them was named Carol. She was younger than me, only 35. She had 2 small children. Her husband left her for another woman. She cried often in the meetings. I sat with her and held her hand. I told her, "You are not alone. We are here." I saw myself in her pain. I wanted to give her the same support that Diane gave me. Little by little, my days became more normal. I worked, cleaned the house, and took care of myself. I started to read simple books again. I listened to music while I cooked. These small things felt new and beautiful. For many years, my house was full of stress and fights. Now it was peaceful. Sometimes, people asked me if I wanted to marry again. Some of my friends even tried to introduce me to men. I was not ready. I said to them, "Maybe one day, but not now." I knew some women could not stay alone. They needed someone next to them, but I felt different. I wanted to be strong by myself first. One afternoon, Deanne and I went for a walk in the city. We passed by a cafe. Inside, we saw a woman from our group. Her name was Janet. She sat with a man. They looked happy. Diane smiled and said, "Maybe she found love again." I smiled too, but I also felt a small pain in my heart. I asked myself, will I ever find love again, or will I always be alone? That night, I sat by the window and thought. I looked at the quiet street. I told myself, maybe I do not need a man. Right now, maybe I need to learn who I am without one. I thought about the years I lost with Peter, years full of shouting and drinking. I said softly to myself, now it is my time to live. The weeks passed and I felt stronger. I joined more activities with the group. We went on small excursions. Once we visited a museum. Another time, we went to the forest for a walk. I loved those days. I felt part of something. I did not feel like a sad, divorced woman anymore. I felt like a woman who had survived and was now building something new. At the same time, I learned to say no. Sometimes people asked me to join them for drinks. I always refused. I said, I do not drink. At first it was hard. Some people did not understand. But I stood firm. I knew that alcohol was not my friend. It destroyed my marriage. I wanted to keep my promise to myself. Henry sometimes worried about me. He said, "Mom, do you feel lonely?" I smiled and told him the truth. Yes, sometimes I do, but I am learning to live with it. I am learning to be strong. He looked at me with respect. I saw pride in his eyes. That gave me more courage. By the end of that year, I felt different. I was not the same woman who cried in the lawyer's office. I was still healing, but I was also moving forward. My heart was lighter. My house was calm. My children were safe. I was building a new life step by step. I knew the road was long. There would be more sad days. But I also knew one thing for sure. I would not go back to my old life. I would not live with fear and alcohol. Again. I had said goodbye to my husband and also to that life. Now I was saying hello to myself. The new year came, and I felt ready for it. I was not the same woman who signed divorce papers in fear. I was stronger now. I had walked through dark days, and I had survived. But life was not perfect. Some evenings, the loneliness returned. I looked at the empty chair at the table and felt a hole in my heart. I missed the idea of having a partner. But I did not miss Peter. I missed the dream of a family that alcohol had broken. One cold night in February, I received a call from Carol, the younger woman from our group. She was crying. She said she was alone and could not stop drinking. My heart broke for her. I put on my coat and went to her home. She sat in her kitchen with a bottle on the table. Her eyes were red. She said, "I cannot do this anymore." I sat with her and took her hand. I said, "Carol, look at me. I was where you are now. I lived with alcohol every day. It destroyed my husband. It destroyed my marriage. Do not let it destroy you too." She looked at me with tired eyes. She whispered, "But I am weak." I said, "No, you're not weak. You are hurting. But you can heal. You are not alone. I am here." That night, I stayed with her until morning. I poured the bottle away. We drank tea and talked until the sun came up. She promised me she would try to stop. I promised her that I would walk with her step by step. In that moment, I felt something new. Inside me, I was not only healing myself anymore, I was helping another woman heal. Helping Carol gave me new strength. I saw that my pain had a purpose. I could use my story to support others. I was not only a victim of a broken marriage. I was a survivor who could guide others out of the dark. This thought gave me peace. The months passed and spring came. The trees grew green again. I walked in the park many mornings. The fresh air and quiet path made me feel alive. Sometimes Chloe came with me. She said, "Mom, you smile more now. You look happy." I smiled back and said, "Yes, I am learning to live again." In our group, I became someone people listened to. New women came with fresh pain. They were lost, just like I had been. I told them, "You are not alone. Divorce is hard, but life continues. You can stand up again." Some women cried when I spoke. Some thanked me later. It was not easy for them, but they saw in me that healing was possible. One Sunday, we planned a small trip with the group. We went to the seaside. The air was cool, and the water was calm. We sat on the sand and shared food. We laughed like young girls. For the first time in many years, I felt free. I did not think about the past. I did not think about Peter. I only thought about the moment, the sea, and the women around me. That evening, I walked home alone. I looked up at the sky. The stars were bright. I said to myself, "I am enough. I do not need alcohol. I do not need a man to save me. I can live my life as I am." Those words were true. For the first time, I believed them fully. Henry sometimes asked me if I would marry again one day. I told him maybe if I meet the right person. But I do not need it. My life is full. Even now. He smiled and said, I am proud of you. Mom, his words were simple, but they meant everything to me. Chloe also found her own way. She started to study more and wanted to move to another city for work. At first, I felt sad. I thought, what if she leaves me alone? But then I reminded myself this is life. Children grow, they move and they live their own stories. My role is to love them, not them. By the end of that year, I looked back at my journey. 1 year before, I was broken and afraid. Now I was stronger and calmer. I had said goodbye to a painful past. I had said goodbye to alcohol. And I had said hello to myself again. I learned something very important. Life can hurt deeply, but it can also heal. A broken marriage does not mean a broken future. A woman can fall, but she can also stand again. I learned that loneliness does not kill. If you fill it with friends, with walks, with laughter, and with small joys. One evening, Diane came to my home for dinner. We ate together and talked. She looked at me and said, Mia, you are not the same woman I met 1 year ago. You are stronger now. You are free. I felt tears in my eyes, but they were not sad tears. They were warm. I said, yes, Diane. I am free. That night when she left, I sat by the window again. The same window where I once cried. Alone. But now I felt peace. The house was quiet, but it was a good quiet. I did not feel fear anymore. I did not feel shame. I only felt hope. I do not know what my future will bring. Maybe I will meet someone. Maybe I will stay single. But I know one thing. I will never go back to the life I left. I will never let alcohol rule my house again. I will never lose myself again. We all go through hard times. But stories like this can help us feel seen. Thank you for watching and come back for more real moments.